Good day, everybody. Welcome to Comics Unlimited. We are going to be talking about comics. Why do we collect them anymore? What's the point? Everything's digital now. We don't have to have a stack of boxes like over here or up on our bookshelf. What are we doing? The speculation market's all over the place. Why do we do it? You'll find out in a second.
Welcome to the Comics Unlimited podcast with your hosts, Glenn B. Fleming and Ted Davis.
Hello again, everybody. My name's Ted Davies. I'm an artist and author, best known for my books Retrieve and Grimm 101, soon to be many, many more coming in. Who's the guy next to me here?
I've heard of him before. He's Glenn Fleming. He's a writer, artist and publisher and the creator of Hatch. And you can find all my other books, science fiction books, adult humor books, children's books, all on Amazon. So just put my name in Amazon and have a look.
We'll bring that link up here soon, and we'll have it in the description as well. And why we're here, This is why we're here. Comics Unlimited magazine. This is what we produce, and we're very proud of it. If you guys are fans of comics, check out everything that we do in this. It is I think it's a must if you're a collector. If you've got a collector in your family that wants to have just a little bit more than what they've got with their collection, this is it. Check out Comics Unlimited.
And that issue is worth the cover alone. That's art by Ian Gibson on an 80s strip called Halo Jones. And just look at that face.
It's fantastic.
Ian Gibson's artwork is amazing. There's an article in there about it that I wrote, so check it out.
Excellent. And it is. I read it. Awesome. There's a slew of different creators that have written in this, and I've got an article in there as well. There's all kinds of things in this about comics. It's so worth the pennies that we charge for it.
And it's 100 pages.
100
pages, and it's quarterly.
And we can get it digital now. There's all kinds of things. We're going to talk about digital versus paperback too. I still like this, and we're going to discuss the ins and outs of that. Let's talk about our sponsor, Cashman's Comics, real quick. John Cashman has been in Bay City, Michigan for the last 26 years. Say hi to Petey the dog when you go into the bookshop, and he will ship. Not Petey, but John will ship things worldwide as long as you pay for the shipping. Check out everything that they're doing. Cashman's Comics. They are awesome. They even sell my books, soon to be Glenn's books as well. Thanks. All right, let's get that banner up so that everybody knows that we are selling Comics Unlimited on the Amazon site.
Number 12 is
number 12. Gosh, it's crazy.
Out at the end of this month.
It's crazy, and that's awesome. It comes out every couple months, usually. So we're just
I always say it's quarterly, but it's probably 3 months. I'm not sure. I don't like to put a definite because we're obviously both so busy doing other things. But I'm really proud of it. I don't get as much writing in there as I'd like, but I do.
And in fact, I don't have writing in this next one either.
In fact, Ted Davis doesn't do anything with it at all. And he's got his name plastered. I don't know what's going on. You open the book and all you see is his ugly mug. But anyway,
I know, right.
But we love him anyway.
I'll sign it for you and send it back to you if you want. So today we're changing up the format a bit. They're going to be shorter shows. They're going to be recorded. We're going to have a few live shows here and there. Peppered through the season, I think, as requests come in. I know that there's a few people that still like to see us live, but we're going to present those for special formats, for special times, things that we're doing, maybe a release for Comics Unlimited 12, that kind of thing. But today we're going to talk about why collect comics now. What's the point? What is the draw to do it, whether it's new comics or old comics? Do you need to have a stack of, 15 boxes here full of paper comics, or do you need to have bookshelves? I think yes.
Yes,
we're kind of old school. I know you're really old school, right? And we're both bibliophile. I mean, we just love reading. I mean, we're very much that.
Yeah, I think the main thing about it is it's the age-old thing. It's like you said earlier about the touch, the smell of them, the nostalgia.
It's tactile. It's completely. I mean, I'm going back to the magazine, but because this is a comic book in a lot of respects. I mean, it's a documentary archive as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, there's something about it. There's something about that.
But as creatures, we like to touch things, don't we? We're tactile, aren't we? So we like to touch things. That's why, you know, God or the universe or whatever gave us fingers and senses in the fingers to touch things. That's why we like to do it. But as for the collecting the comics, you know, you've got a lot of old comics there. I've got a lot of old comics.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that I don't think they do this anymore. But these things are invaluable to me because this is the Fantastic Four one. This is number 5. It's a few years old now, and it's just got all this brilliant artwork by Kirby, you know, and everything. The Fantastic Four. But the point I'm making is that now I've got these. I don't have to pull out those old issues and spoil
and the trades. I think the trades are even more. I mean, they're readers, and that's the whole idea. You know.
But I don't think,
and you don't have to worry about damaging the originals.
That's right. I don't think they're producing these anymore, are they? I don't think they're producing old stuff, publishing old.
They might be.
I may be wrong.
I mean, I don't know. We can check that. It depends because there's some, you know, they do the anniversary editions. They're doing things with, you know, George Perez, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean the essential title.
The essentials. No, I don't think that they are. They might not be. If anybody knows, let us know in the comments. You know, if anybody knows about the production side of that. But the trades, absolutely. I think that there's, and we've done quite a few interviews. Let me bring you back down here. Quite a few interviews on different books that we've done, reviews, I should say, not interviews. And, you know, a lot of that, I think it's really important that you see these obscure books that we don't know that even existed. You know, we did Hal Foster, we did, you know, there's quite a few of them that we've gone through, but they're still not comics. There's something about 20 pages, you know, 20 minutes of reading.
Well, you've seen parts of my collection. I've got a few comics signed by Jack Kirby, and you do too, and other creators. And you don't get that if you've got a PDF. You might get the signature on it, but it's not real. I mean, Jack Kirby touched my comics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he wrote on
right. Now, Joe Sinnott ended up inking, but he also signed this. You know, it's crazy.
And you've got your Perez stuff and all that.
Yes, and I mean,
it's
then like meeting them. It's the whole umbrella of all of it. It's not just that. It's not just the fact that we have a old, musty old comic up on the in a plastic sleeve up on the shelf. There's a whole environment, a world that's been built upon this, and that's the thing. That's the hook. You know.
Well, the other thing as well, from my point of view, is that, you know, my book about Jack Kirby, where there's a photograph of him there, a couple of photographs where he's holding some Hatch artwork.
Yes.
Now, that's
priceless, man.
I've still got that, so I've still got Jack Kirby on those pages. You understand what I mean? And my artwork on his drawing board and all that kind of thing.
I mean, how do you duplicate that? And I'm only one step away from that. You ended up, I know you, and it's like, it's just so cool. You know,
but this is what's happened. You see, it's like with technology. With there was a great advert on the TV a couple of years ago when all this Zoom thing was coming in. You know, Zoom meetings where people could talk to people in Hong Kong, like we're talking now. You know, we're 5 hours and 4,000 miles apart. You know,
right?
But this advert was a guy, and his boss came to see him, and he said, "Got this great new system called Zoom. You don't have to go anywhere now. You can just talk to people on the TV screen." And his boss went out, and he looked behind him, and he had a picture of the Taj Mahal, Sydney Harbour Bridge, Empire State Building, and it was like, he's not going to go there anymore because he's just going to talk to Ted Davis via the Zoom, you know.
Yeah.
But we like to do things, you see.
Sure, and it's instant. I mean, that's the other thing too. And here's why I like. There's a lot of layers on comics, literally, because I like to support local comic shops like John Cashman in Bay City, Michigan, who sponsors us. I like supporting mom and pop businesses. Yeah. And that might mean buying back issues or all kinds of things from you know, pop culture, you know, collectibles, anything like that. I like that part of it, and that's the whole thing about comics. Like you said, it's a universe, literally. But let's talk about it on the flip side, because you and I both deal with this as publishers and as creators, as authors, writers. not everybody can afford the shipping on some of these books.
Oh, tell me about
The
it.
shipping is 3 times sometimes to go more than what the book costs to get it
Yeah,
across the world. So
yeah.
PDFs digital are a good avenue for that. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with having a digital bookshelf and having a digital set of comics either. I think that's brilliant too, especially with the resolution, everything else that you can do now. And it's amazing what you can do with iPads and everything and the readers that you can get now. It's incredible.
I,
But
sorry, go ahead.
no,
Sorry.
I'm trying to advocate both sides of it because I really, and I know it drives my wife crazy, and I don't know how your wife is about it, but it's a lot to ask to have this many, to have a library. I'm very, very fortunate, you know what I mean, to be able
Yeah.
to have this archive here.
I think your archive is a lot more substantial than mine, and mine is all
Uh-huh.
in my studio here. So Ellen can close the door. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
she wouldn't mind anyway. She's okay.
right.
I was going to say about the PDF thing.
Yes.
As I just told you last week or week before, my computer decided to
Dump.
emigrate to
Yeah,
Mars, and I lost everything. But I've managed to get about 95% back.
which is
So
incredible that you're able to get it back.
yeah, and
Incredible.
I know that you should back up, and a lot of stuff is backed up, but you can't be backing up everything because you spend all day backing up, and the space would be amazing. You know, the meggage would be the
Sure.
area of that,
Sure.
and but the thing about books, you know, I've got a few books on the back there,
Yeah,
is that
beautiful. Yeah.
you have to make a conscious effort to go and find it, take it out the shelf, and sit and read it. Whereas a PDF, you can look at it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I think I like the like I said I think I said it on this show about drawing. I draw with a pencil and paper
Mhm.
because I like doing it. I like drawing the panel borders. I like cutting the board, and
Yeah.
I like doing the whole job.
There's a craftsmanship to it, and I
Yeah,
agree with that. I've been both digital and, you know, whether it's in architecture or drafting or whatever, or
yeah.
in comics, it's all I like doing the manual labor side of it. I really, really
Yeah,
do. Well,
but isn't
here's one thing that I mean, when it's all on, we talked about shipping, we talked about PDFs. The colors are amazing on the laptops. Everything you have
mhm,
iPads and everything else. This is low tech. This doesn't need
yeah,
batteries, you know, and
yes.
I know that there's a carbon footprint to this, you know, with the driving, and people get kind of bent out of shape about that. Some people, not everybody,
Yeah,
but
well, we're giving people a job.
right. And that, but it's low tech. You don't have to plug anything in. It doesn't need to recharge. You might need a
Yeah,
light to read it. Um, that's really what I like about it. And they're time machines. We talked about that too. If you're reading back
yeah.
over the years of what you read when you were a kid, you're starting to transport yourself, and that's a huge thing.
Well,
You know, I can't say it enough.
you're right about the time machine aspect because when I get my let's call them original comics out,
Yeah,
say
yeah,
mainly Kirby,
yeah,
I'm I'm in three places in time at the same time. I'm in now when I'm looking at it.
yeah.
I'm in when I was a kid when I was reading it, and I'm in his house watching him sign it.
Yeah.
So they are time machines.
Incredible.
But when I look at his work online, I don't I don't go there. I just look at it online because it's cold and flat and perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I like we said I think we covered this. Um, this is a bit of a sideways from what we're talking
Hmm.
about, but I love the newsprint aspect of it with the crappy colours and the outer
I
register
agree. Yes.
pages and all. It's all part of it
Yeah.
because I've got some classics up on the shelf there from the 80s where I've not even opened them yet,
Hmm.
and they've sealed, and they're all on that pristine paper and the garish colours that don't work.
Yeah. And we have
I,
talked about that on other shows too.
yeah,
We
and the musty condition. These my comics are 1963. You
yeah.
know, they're 50, 60 years old, and they smell. You know, there's mold and they're bent and creased and
And
loved.
the
You
covers
know,
are falling off, and that's
yeah, the
fine.
covers are falling off.
We were talking about this stuff, and go back to our back videos, our playlist, because you guys will be really, if you haven't seen us before, this is what we talk about, and this is the adventure of what we consider comic collecting, because we talk about when we were kids and what we, you know, I can't believe that I actually had this comic, off the shelf when it came in, or I've since lost it, or our parents got rid of it, whatever.
Yeah.
These are the stories that build this station. This is what we want as part of the journey, and we all are part of that in comic collecting. One of the things about the older comics, though, like you were saying, the newsprint, the imperfections in it, and
Yeah.
they talk about one of the things, and I know that there's a few other collectors that we have talked to in the past, that speculation has become kind of a double-edged sword in this business with the movies and everything else. And, I'm guilty of that too, because there's been things that I know that I collect because such and such is out or such and such is happening. Or I've had, and I've made that more of a priority to make sure it's pressed and cleaned properly, and the comics are set to go if anybody ends up wanting to buy them. That's just business, I guess. But the speculation side of it can ruin, I think, the innocence of it, if you want to call it that. Maybe you know what I mean by that, because it's not it's us riding our bikes when we were kids, or us trading with other friends, trading comics or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of things there. I mean, I remember I never did this, but I remember other kids coloring on the comics on the covers. You know what I mean? Years ago. Or going over it with crayon. Or I remember that vividly. Now I just cringe. Back then it was no big deal.
Well, back in the early 70s, probably around the time you were born.
Yeah, 71. Yeah,
Frank Bellamy was doing Garth in the Daily Mirror as a strip. And I remember I cut them out and put them in an exercise book, and I coloured them in. I don't have them now, but I coloured them in because they were just in black and white.
Really?
But it wasn't original artwork; it was only out the paper.
Right.
I wouldn't have coloured the originals artwork. But I did that. You do that for a couple. And then I thought, why am I colouring this guy's artwork? I'll just do my own.
Right. but you have to. But that's you evolving, though, too.
Yeah.
As a person, not an adult necessarily, but just why am I doing this now? Okay, that's part of growing.
But
I think go ahead.
The thing about the comics today is that when I go into Forbidden Planet in Manchester, which is my sort of local comic shop, I don't go in too often because it's 2 floors and it's just Star Wars figures.
Yeah, it's a collectible market.
Thanos and Iron Man figurines. And I go downstairs to the comics and I look at them for about 3 minutes. I just look to see if there's a Fantastic Four being published, and I look at it and it's just pin-ups and really, really sharp artwork. And I think comics have lost the point a lot recently, and I think that's why the old stuff is so collectible, because it's brilliant stuff. And like I said to you, but everybody knows I like to do artwork with a pen and a paper, and people say, oh, you should use a computer, blah 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 blah, but they all want that Kirby page on the wall.
Yeah, they do.
Well, you can have my pages on the wall, but you can't have a lot of these artists' pages on the wall because they don't exist.
Yeah.
They're in the ether somewhere,
And we've talked about originals versus prints, and they're on and on. We've talked about that on other shows. And as artists, I think that you find your medium and get comfortable with it and do your thing. I mean, we both of us still use computers.
Oh yeah.
With our work, we scan our work. We ended up enhancing it, whatever, put it in book form and put it out there to the world.
See, it's quite significant from my point of view. I've noticed that I don't slam anybody for using a computer. Whatever gets you through the night, right. But I get slammed for doing it the way I do, and I'm not really criticizing those people. They produce their pages, they want to do it. I just like to use colored ink and mix it all up and erase the pencil.
It is the process. I mean, there's people that use when they're writing, all they use is word processors. You and I mean, I write. I get a journal out and I'm writing because that's just me. I mean, that's the way I work. So you get what you want to. What?
Sorry, I've got. I'm still working on this. Is 40 years ago, people. A science fiction story called Citadel. I've not finished it yet. I know what happens. I've got it all laid out. And I'll show you sometime. I've got still got the original script I started writing in 1980, and it's handwritten on A4 foolscap paper.
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
And then about 60 pages in, you realize I bought a typewriter because it suddenly typed mid sentence,
Yeah, literally.
and now it's on a computer. I do a word processor thing on the computer, so I've got sort of 3 editions of it. And if I ever put it out, I think I might crowdfund it and put the original up on
absolutely.
on a perk,
And that, that brought it, kind of segues a little bit too. And NFTs have been kind of, a lot of people have been having some problems with everything that's been going on with the digital market format, with all that NFT stuff, and people have lost a lot of money in that. But I still think that that's a definite avenue for a lot of this digital work as well. I think that things like this original writing that you've done. I mean, Quentin Tarantino put one out as an NFT, as original digital of, I think, Pulp Fiction or something. I forget what it was, or Dusk Till Dawn, whatever it was.
Wow.
And it's sold, but the person owns that digital copy now that they can admire and use, and, whatever. There's a market for that. So, I mean, things are evolving, whether it's comics and digital format or whatever whether it's writing or what have you. But I still think that when it all boils down to it, collect what you want to, collect how you want to, create how you want to. I mean, there's really no rules. There's no
right and wrong. Yeah,
there isn't. And I think if you start boxing yourself up, pardon the pun with all these boxes here, but if you start boxing yourself up, you're not going to enjoy to the full potential of what you can do in collecting.
I think what a lot of people do as well is that they've got caught up in a different aspect of it. I like drawing. I like painting. I like writing. I rarely write and paint and draw to a deadline. I did at work, but I'm not there anymore. But with my own stuff, what I'm saying is that too many people think, oh, I'll do it on a computer so I don't have to erase the pencil lines.
Okay.
Or I can do 10 lines and to get one right. Well, my argument is get it right the first time.
Yeah. And and for some aspects, let's talk about cartooning for a second. So as we get older, our lines might not be as sharp as they used to if we're traditional. I mean, Charles Schultz, I was just watching a documentary on him, and it talked about when he had open heart surgery, and how afterward in the 80s, early 80s, he had a shaky line. The first thing he did when he came out of surgery, when he grabbed a pencil and paper and see if he could still draw, because he said that, I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose that. But his line was definitely different after the surgery than it was before.
Yeah.
So, the digital side of it isn't a bad thing if you are restricted. I'm a huge fan of a gentleman that's on Instagram and on YouTube, I think, for that matter, who's quadriplegic, and he draws with a pen in his mouth. Incredible artwork. I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. And to see him do this, what he does digitally, fantastic. That is completely inspiring, and he is to be completely commended for that.
Yep.
And if he ended up collecting all digital work or comics or whatever he wanted, good on him, but he's creating something that is making the world better. And I think that's maybe why we collect comics, because it makes our world better. And I think that was something that we were very, you and I are in the era that paper was power, when we were kids.
Yeah.
And I still think it is. I think that there's a lot of stuff in the new marketplace now. The storylines are different now, but they're actually very thought-provoking, and that's good in some respects. But I still like we talked about, Mike Mignola's my Kirby. That his storylines, his artwork, it's not for everybody. Bill Sienkiewicz, amazing artist, absolutely off the charts for me.
Yeah,
but not everybody's taste.
Well,
he's traditional. He's both. He does both of them. So, and Mike doesn't even know how to send. I think his wife scans stuff for him. So, I mean, he just draws like we do. So, but when it comes down to comics, I think that there's going to be a market for it. I think that eventually people will see and they are. I mean, you see the stuff from the 1940s and what it comes up to auction, and what, there's some real collectors out there that it's amazing the money that they will invest on some of these that they weren't even alive back then, and they're seeing the quality. it's a time machine. That's all I can say about it.
Even I wasn't alive then.
Yeah, right.
Hard to believe, but I wasn't.
Stop. Anyway, it's been a good discussion, man. We're trying to keep these around 30 minutes now, and I think that it's good. You guys can digest it a little bit. Pardon the pun, at lunchtime or maybe at dinner. What we're going to be doing too is I'm going to be setting this up on podcast. If you're listening to us right now on podcast, it's audio. If you want to see us on video, you can check us out on YouTube on Ted Davies Artistry, so you can see both of us. If you don't want to see our ugly mugs, then stay on Spotify and just see the audio, or just listen to the audio. But if you want to see some of the magazine and everything else we've been talking about, some of the comics and that over the course of the season that we're doing, check us out on YouTube. We'd love to have you part of Ted's tribe and subscribe. Glenn is very much a staple here, and he's incredible. And Comics Unlimited is such a awesome opportunity for all of us to relive our youth and really learn about these artists and these creators that made this medium. So anyway, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's been good. Yeah, nice to see you back.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're back. So yeah, and we're going to be posting these. We're still trying to figure out our weekly posting date day, but we'll get back to that soon, and we'll let you know. And then you guys can definitely be involved every week of our schedule, and you'll know exactly when we're going to be out. So thanks, man. I got to write.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Read some comics. I'll talk to you soon, man. Don't work too hard, and try to create some comics too. I'll see you, man.
See you, everybody. See you.
Welcome to the Comics Unlimited podcast with your hosts, Glenn B. Fleming and Ted Davies.